H.G. Wells is considered the father of modern science fiction, He wrote the very first alien invasion story in the late 1800s.
I think it's one of those first things that really kind of knocked our arrogance out of us, because we were at the end of the Industrial Revolution, and it was sort of like we thought we were kings of our worlds and of nature and understood everything. And then this book kind of comes in and just sweeps all that out and shows us that we really are still these little tiny little primitive little arrogant little things.
They hadn't ever even considered that this was a possibility. And that's a really frightening thing, to start thinking of the Earth and the human race as this very small piece in this huge, huge puzzle.
H.G. Wells wrote War of the Worlds originally as a series of newspaper articles. So you could look at each chapter as a separate article in the newspaper. And then he cultivated them all together and published it as a novel in 1898.
I think that that format that he used to initially tell the story is what lends itself so well to our documentary version, just because we're presenting it as if these were things that really occurred, and I think is very much in the spirit of what he initially set out to do.
In the late 1930s, an actor, writer, producer by the name of Orson Welles, no relation to H.G. Wells, had a radio show at that time called the Mercury Theater. And what he did was he took H.G. Wells' story and he adapted it for radio in what seemed like a unique way, but he was really taking it one step further than what Wells himself had done.
He started out saying we're about to present the story of War of the Worlds, and then they go into this orchestration and just carry you along like you're listening to music, and then suddenly we interrupt this program. This thing is going on right now, and people were just, I mean, really, really thought it was happening and just went ape.
There was a little announcement at the beginning that it was all fiction, and nobody remembered that. Everybody thought it was a newscast. And I had the greatest time.
It really confused a great deal of people, and you know, there was panic across the country caused by this thing.
It spawned creating laws and regulations as to how you can present information if it's entertainment.
It resulted in there coming down an edict that said that people, stations couldn't use "we interrupt this broadcast" anymore for anything other than breaking news.
And it was all due to Orson Welles. Also, the world for the very first time became aware that a little voice, widely broadcast with the right kind of radio production, could convince people of almost anything.
I can't think of a case where a mockumentary has been made in this way, so it's something that's basically being reported from the past. You know, it's not like some imaginary thing we're creating now, but we're creating the appearance of it having occurred 100 years ago.
It was the right way to do it, as a way that hadn't been done before, and it was it followed the same vein of when the book came out, of telling the readers, this is what I've experienced, this the H.G. Wells, Orson Welles broadcast, this is what's actually happening, and it would be like the modern day version of both those interpretations.
No one else did, so we're lucky that we did first, you know, so we have the bragging right, you know what I mean? So that's a good thing. That's a good feeling about it. We thought about it and say, okay, this is what we should do. Just make a documentary of this, make it real possible.
Everything just coalesced to make this very perfect telling of the story. I don't know what the future, you know, 100 years from now, 50 years from now, telling, maybe holograms or something so you can actually be in it. But right now, today, this is the absolute best way of telling this story.
It's like a combination of an exciting movie in a documentary format. And yeah, I think all the things we pulled together, I've never seen anything like that in my life.